Welcome back into the Enrichment Sports Source. This time we're brought to you by the folks at Madisonville Marine down there on Highway 411 North outside of Madisonville. You can also find them at madmarine.com. There's no better place to buy a boat. The reason we say that is their incredible selection. You're not going to find a bigger, wider selection of boats anywhere between Atlanta and Nashville. There are people that go from Georgia. There are people that go from Nashville all the way to Madisonville to buy their boat because you're going to see an incredible array of brands and models. When you get down there, and not the kind of models that Chuck's thinking of, models of boats. When you get down there, you're going to see an entire beautiful showroom full of boats, and you're going to see a lot full of more boats. It's boats from one end of the complex to the other. You're going to be amazed when you get down to Madisonville Marine. All right, I want to welcome in the next wave of guys on the show. We have Stering Henton, former Vol quarterback, Bobby Scott, former Vol quarterback. Welcome back to the show.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. We have Mike Strange. We have Chuck Cavalaris. All right. This segment, we tried this last week. It went a little off the rails, but I went back and watched it. I kind of liked it off the rails. What we're going to do, we're going to play to people's strengths this year. So, positive side, these guys are going to tell us what they thought was positive from yesterday's game. Mean, evil, media, negative side. You guys are going to tell us what you didn't like, all right? We started with the positives last week. I'm going to start with the negatives this week. Guys, what did you see yesterday that you thought was a negative coming out of the game?
Well, I mean, I think it's what people were talking about leaving the stadium was Tennessee's passing game. When you step it up, and it's getting to happen this Saturday at Oregon and then coming up at Florida, you have got to correct some things with your passing game. 3 completions in the first half. If your defense had not been a turnover-producing machine, you would have been in trouble.
We talked about Worley's arm earlier in this show. Former quarterbacks, it's certainly not. He's not a gunslinger in terms of a strong arm. We know that. Is he accurate enough to go down the Darryl Dickey path, if you will, when Tennessee turned it over to a kid and said, look, you're not throwing it longer than 5-10 yards. The trick is Darryl Dickey was incredibly accurate, more accurate than anyone dreamed. Is Worley that kind of guy that you could do that?
I don't think probably he is. I think his arm strength and everything is okay. Mm-hmm. What you got to do if you don't have a great arm, you've got to be a great reader. You've got to be able to look out there, see where you're going to go, get the ball in the air early, throw to the right place. If you do that, then you're going to lessen your chances of interceptions and increase your chances of completions.
Sterling, I thought he looked a little timid at times, like he didn't trust his arm a little bit. You could tell when he knew it was time to throw it, and he paused, and then he threw it, and it just didn't. The timing was a little off. Did you see that?
Well, bottom line, this is the first year that it's his team, so he's still going through some growing pains right now. And the guy withheld an intense quarterback battle to get the job. Yeah. So we got to give him some kudos for that and get behind him and support him. I mean, we go back 10, 11, maybe 15 years, the 98 season, when people were saying the same about T. Martin. Here we go. So let's give this man some support and help him through the second game. Bottom line, he's 2-0. A lot of quarterbacks that people think better than him are not 2-0.
There we go. We went from negative to positive. See how it works? Mike Strange, what did you think was negative yesterday?
I think people who have been to practice watching this team have never seen a team spend more time on the punt game. And yet, I mean, that's Butch Jones' baby, and yet you had a punt block yesterday. Okay, it was against Western Kentucky. You were ahead 31-3 or 31-10 maybe at the time, but you just can. This team doesn't have the margin for error to let that happen in a meaningful game, in any SEC game.
I don't know about you, but I think I saw why that happened. They had 2 guys come in on the 3 that were the up backs, and it was like those guys wasn't ready. They just pushed those 3 back. 2 of them pushed 3 of them back and into the kicker.
Can't happen.
Yeah. You're right.
Oh, hang on. We know you're going to argue that. Yeah, how you can argue the punt block isn't a negative, but okay. Positives. What are positives? What did you see yesterday that you liked?
An attitude. Attitude. How many times over the past couple of years that we've had in the position to get interceptions and we dropped them, been in a position to get fumbles and we didn't corral it. We got those turnovers yesterday. That shows attitude and persistence, then buying into the program and wanting to do good out in the field, and we made the plays for us. They are turnovers. Let's take them.
It's being disciplined, and I agree with him 100%. I liked looking out there most of the time or a lot of the time and seeing a defensive back making a break on the ball, or he's in the area of where the pass is going to be completed. And then they did make the plays. I mean, it wasn't. Well,
that's right. I mean,
there wasn't any flukes.
Yeah, if Western Kentucky's receiver doesn't catch it and your defensive back does, Man, kudos to your defensive back for making the catch. Their receiver can't. Let me ask you this, though. A couple other positives I want to throw in there quickly. I thought the return game, even missing Devin Young, I thought Vincent Dallas did a nice job yesterday.
Yeah. Yes.
4 sacks on the year so far. David Ligon mentioned it earlier. I think you have seen a little bit more of a pass rush. You're about to get into the meat of the schedule. We'll see how much that continues. But I want to ask you this. Glass half empty or glass half full? This is the drive chart from yesterday. I believe we can punch this up. Here you go. First quarter, you see that there a lot of those possessions, you start on your own 37, 5 plays, 12 yards, punt. Then the turnovers start. You get it at Western Kentucky's 28, 5 plays, only 22 yards, field goal. You get it at their 12, 2 plays, 12 yards, touchdown. You get it at their 22, 3 plays, 22 yards, touchdown. Then look here at the second quarter. You get it at your own 37, 3 and out. Get it at your own 25, 3 and out. Get it at your own 18, 3 and block punt.
Yes.
Then Butch Jones chews them, we assume, and look there at that third quarter. Your own 41, 5 plays, 59-yard touchdown drive. Your own 25, you get an 8-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. You had a good drive on the drive where Worley threw the interception as well, and then you had another touchdown drive, 8 plays, 80 yards in the fourth quarter. You also had a couple of kneel-down type drives late in the half, late in the game. But is that a positive that they bounced back with a good second half, or is it a negative that it took too long for them to get going in that first half?
I think it's a positive that you got a coach that went in there and
Shoot 'em.
I think gnawed on their fannies a little bit.
There we
and
I'm going to have a fannyometer graphic.
there you go.
You don't want to know what it's going to look
Yeah,
like.
I don't want to see that
Have you ever?
That's really graphic.
Have you ever been in the locker room and you know all your teammates are sitting around there and everything and you know you made a bad play or you hadn't done what you need to do? I mean, it ain't fun, especially when you're sitting there amongst your teammates.
So you think it's a
I
positive
think
that they bounced back? I know what
They
Done
responded.
deal, man. We're 2-0. The glass is half full.
it's
We're
ha-
2-0.
your glass is
2-0.
overflowing.
Hey, baby.
The glass is half empty because you're getting ready to go to Oregon, and if you have those 3 and outs at Oregon, you're going to be behind by 3 or 4 touchdowns in the blink of an eye.
Well, maybe they're going to get a couple of 3 and outs, Chuck. What do you wear? What do you got? You got a duck uniform over there crying out loud? You're a volunteer.
Quack, quack.
That's
half empty, half full.
The glass is full right now, but Oregon's getting ready to pick it up and turn it over.
All right, we'll talk about that a little later. When we come back, Will Overstreet is going to break down the Oregon offense for you. It's going to be interesting. Come on back on the Enrichment Sports Store.